What's up, everyone? And welcome to another wonderful special Halloween spooktacular edition of Epic Nerd Time. And yes, today we have some big feet to fill here. Hailing from Austin, Texas, standing anywhere between a measly 4'11" and a lofty 7'4", weighing in between a lousy 125 and an abominable 425. The writer of Bigfoot Knows Karate, the man behind the whole thing, Mr. Dan Price. Brother,
Hey,
how are you?
Josh, I'm really good. Thank you for having me. I do need to say one thing. I am the co-writer of the book, so I want to give Casey Allen the credit he deserves too.
Yes.
So absolutely. I am the artist, but Casey is half the mind behind this thing, and he's incredible. So I just wanted to put that out there just to get us started. So
Thank you for the correction.
no worries. No, thank you for letting me do that. So great. I'm glad to be here, man. I'm really been looking forward to this conversation for a while, dude. So after our DMs and stuff like that over time, it's just like I'm stoked to do this show tonight. So thank you.
Well, you are quite the Yoda type of, I don't know. You are a Yoda in the indie comic community for sure. And a lot of people look up to you. It's insane.
Oh, well, nanu, dude. Thank you.
I mean,
yeah, man. Cool. I don't even know what to do with that, but yeah.
Well, everybody that I've rubbed elbows with in this whole thing since I've, kind of been thrown into the fire by Mr. Bernal.
Love Mark.
I've been rubbing elbows with, and everybody, your name keeps coming up. Like Dan Price just crushing it. Dan Price just crushing. And I'm just like, okay. And then I gradually bit the hook, and yes, you're crushing it. But guys, this interview is brought to you by Lesser Known Comics, all a part of Launchtober Fest 2022, where we highlight indie comic creators that have a book on Kickstarter that is launching this month. And today, it's a little recorded in advance. Let's just let the cat out of the bag. But this is the Epic Nerd Time Halloween special with co-writer Bigfoot Knows Karate, Mr. Dan Price. Dan, where's your stress level at right now with this whole book about to go?
Oh, probably about a 6 or 7. I feel confident. I feel like that's a good number. I could say 11 or 12, but that's not. I don't think that's quite accurate yet. Give me, about 3 weeks ago it was a 37. So, take that for what it's worth.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Will the number ratchet up as the days get closer?
I hope not, but it probably, yes. I remember the last live launch that we did for issue 1. I have bipolar disorder, so I was so manic that during that event that I was talking like about a million miles a minute. And people, I don't think anybody could really comprehend what I was saying because I was so jazzed and so excited. And I'm like, and I think they were all laughing at me, but that's okay. It happens sometimes, but no, look, good food, good sleep, low stress, life is good. And I don't know if low stress is something that I'm going to get the next couple of days, but I'm going to try and take it in stride the best I can.
Well, that healthy amount of being scared or being on your toes, there's a good thing for that.
Absolutely. No, that'll motivate you like it's going out of style.
Oh my Lord, you telling me too, brother. So jumping into the Bigfoot stuff, what inspired you to use the character Bigfoot? Is this something that you're into? Is this a fascination kind of thing, or just
not even a little? No, this is, they say that you write what you know. That's the best thing for a writer to do, write what they know. This is an example of write what you don't know. I've written what I know for a long time, and after a while that gets old and you want to explore new territory. So originally it was just going to be a comedy story that took place in the Latex Avenger universe. Latex Avenger was my original comic concept. It was about a dude who wore a rubber on his head, and he had a sidekick named Spermicidal Foam who added them together. They repelled crime 99.9% of the time. So it was supposed to live in that world where you had characters like Manibus, the kaiju pot monster, and Kosher the pig, and
oh my gosh,
Sexy Nurse America, and Shazizzle, and all these other crazy characters. It was supposed to just fit right in there. And as I started writing the story, I realized it wasn't that funny. So we just shelved that, put that to the side. That was like, I don't know, that was 2014, 2015, something like that. And in 2017, 2018, I started redrawing the character again. And the look was completely different. It was no longer this little apey thing. It was more like this big brooding brute that was brooding. And it was, the line work was completely different. It was loose and kinetic, and it just had this brushy, grungy feel to it. And I was like, that's the look. Now we need a story, and Casey Allen, Christopher Specht, Drew Edwards, all of them were like just prodding me for a couple of years. When are you going to do something with this? When are you going to do something with this? And finally, like in 2020, and the end, like December of 2020, I made the decision to go ahead and start working on the book. And Casey, it was rooted in comedy to begin with. And then by the time we really started going, I started going with the concept. It was anything but that. It was action adventure, psychological thriller, just guns or swords ablaze, so to speak, and there were still some funny components to it. The big bad in the book was Kung Fu Thulu, which we modeled after, Cyrus from what's his, oh, well, I can't even remember the what is the name of the movie with all those street gangs running around New York, and
Gangs in New York?
Not Gangs in New York. For the life of me, the Warriors. It was Cyrus
yeah. Okay.
Can you dig it? That guy.
Yeah.
Cyrus from the Warriors, Max Cady from Cape Fear, and Macho Man Randy Savage was like the root of the character.
Yes.
But he was, Cthulhu who did Kung Fu. How can you go wrong with that? So there were funny moments in the book, but overall it took a different story. And when it comes to Bigfoot, my attitude on Bigfoot was, if you've never seen a Bigfoot, and nobody's ever seen a Bigfoot, and you can't prove that they exist, and maybe you can't see a Bigfoot, maybe that's just how it is. Maybe Bigfoot does exist, but we can't see him. And so that opened up a whole bunch of questions about his psyche and and his philosophy and all of that stuff that goes along with it. So I don't know if I answered your question or not, but I definitely rambled for a minute.
No, and then that exactly told me exactly why you used the character Bigfoot. Now, was there any other form or title like Bigfoot knows jujitsu or Bigfoot knows whatever, or was it always just Bigfoot knows karate?
I had the name pinned on my wall for like years.
It works.
It rolled off the tongue, and that was the biggest thing, Bigfoot knows jiu-jitsu just wasn't going to work. Bigfoot knows Pilates, that just made no sense.
That would be a funny April Fool's.
Sure. No, we make the joke, Casey and I, we make the joke that if he ever retires, he's going to go move to Ojai, California, and he's going to do Pilates. It'll be Bigfoot does Pilates, and it'll just be him in his retirement years, doing a little Tai Chi in the mornings with the senior community and that sort of thing. But let's see if it goes that far.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah, right.
So you were talking a little bit about the Bigfoot character, but within the context of the story, without giving us any spoilers, because we don't want to do that, can you give us a Reader's Digest version of Bigfoot in his setting, like within this universe?
Just about him himself, not
just
the story overall.
I don't want to touch on too many spoilers because I know how it can get that way.
Sure.
I just wanted people to get a decent grasp, like maybe what they would read on the back of the book or something like that.
Sure. From an overall perspective, he's a gentle cryptid warrior who lives in a world where anyone can be the hunter and anyone can be the prey at any given time. In the first issue, his role was flipping and changing constantly, whether it was the hunter or the hunted. And, we liken the book to Godzilla versus Kong meets Kill Bill with a big twist of Lost in there too. And the character himself, he's secluded, he's isolated, he's alone. And that plays a function, at least there's a sliver of that in the first book, where you kind of get this idea of This character has been very secluded, and the small interactions that he has mean so much to him. There's a rabbit in the comic that plays a part, and he has this moment with the rabbit, and it was probably about as sweet as this character is going to get. But he's very much a roots for the underdog, which is something that I do believe in. I'm a big believer in the underdog. But he is, if you were isolated and you were alone, what would that do to your psyche? That's the question that I often think about. And and from issue 1, where he starts off this book, starts off his journey completely isolated. In book 2, now he's surrounded by enemies, and I start to wonder what's worse, being isolated or where everybody wants, part of my language, wants a piece of your ass.
Yeah.
So it's so that is a challenge. Take all that, and plus he knows karate, so he's intelligent, he's disciplined, he's agile, much more so than your regular hulking Bigfoot would be. So he's very intelligent creature, but still carries himself like a monster almost.
He's almost mechanical in his ways.
Oh, how so?
Just like the switch can flip, like on a machine, like you can flip a switch and it's on or off. You know what I mean? And then when he's fighting, it's very like, one step at a time.
Methodical.
Wham, 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 just chopping it down like a machine, like he doesn't have a machine in him, obviously, but
right.
like some of his thought process, like it just goes like when you utilize a button or a switch or anything, like it's very mechanical.
Who's to say he isn't a machine? He could be the Terminator. We just don't know it yet. But no, that's not going to be the case. He's not a cyborg or anything like that.
He's not going to have a glowing red eye anytime soon.
I wish he would, but no red eye, no glowing red eye. Now but one thing that he does take and have in common with the Terminator, one thing that I've always loved about Terminator movies is damage counts. All right. And how Terminator, they just start off looking all beautiful, and by the end of it, they're all this crumpled metal skeleton chasing after Sarah Connor or whatever. And so they're just kind of limping in at the end until she hits the blowtorch on them or whatever. That is a very similar concept that we have in this book, damage counts. And when he gets his ass kicked in issue 1, he's going to be feeling it still in issue 2, or whatever the case may be. You read comics where Superman gets punched like 900 times, and and he just comes out, hey, but I'm Superman. That's not, our guy doesn't have powers like that. He's a warrior, but he's not. So when he feels it, he's feeling it for a minute, for sure.
It's like a wrestler and how they have to sell constantly
for the other,
you got to sell it, and he's keeping it going the whole time, and that's awesome.
No, you gotta, and I like the fact that you compared it to a pro wrestler. You got to sell for your opponent for sure. You got to.
It makes the whole thing better. It makes you look good.
You got to keep that mystique alive. Seriously, if you treat your opponent well, they're going to make you look good, and vice versa. So I get where you're going with that. 100%.
These books, obviously, you have a few in mind. How long do these take you and your co-writer Casey to complete?
Oh goodness, it's the issue's taken a better part of a year, to do, and that's a full-time job, wife, kids, all of that stuff.
Yes,
and this particular issue is longer than the last one, so. I'm still working on it. I'm going to continue working on it and getting it done. But, there's put a lot of love in it, and I mean, it's not like I'm just penciling. I pencil, I ink, I color, I letter, I do the graphic design of the whole book and the production of the whole book and all of that. So it does take a while for sure. And I've got Casey writing with me and doing the editing and that sort of stuff. But a lot kind of falls on my narrow shoulders, so to speak. So. But that's okay. I'm up for the challenge.
Can you, if you don't mind, Can you take us inside maybe like a brainstorm session between you two? What is that like? Is that just like a frivolous phone call, or is that just a bunch of texting, or how would that might work?
Texting, DMs, phone calls, Saturday morning Zooms. I mean, we run the gamut, in terms of our communication style. But we talk on the phone probably 4 days a week, and that can be anything from the book to how your kids to whatever. But we talk about the book probably about half the time we're on the phone, on the afternoons, and then we're DMing constantly. We work on a Google Doc together. So we have a shared doc that we write in. And so we can actually see the other one in there and fiddling around and that sort of thing, which is kind of funny. But he writes in one color, I write in another. And then when it's confirmed text, we put it to black and keep on working. So it's a different working relationship than I've ever had with another collaborator. As a co-writing, that's news to me, and I know to Casey as well. So even though we're in our second book, we're still feeling each other out. We don't, we're really respectful to one another, which is nice because we want to, the idea is what's best for the book. Sometimes that means something I write gets cut or something he writes gets cut, but we have to respect the product, respect the project and make sure that we're doing the best for the story itself. And so ego is really kind of thrown out to the side on this shit. You just can't. Something has to give, and it might as well be ego because all the other stuff we really need. I have a sign. I have a sign right here. Hold on, I'll show you something. I look at this every day.
Dude, it's true. Ego kills talent.
Ego kills talent. So look at that.
How do you co-write with somebody? Do you just like take it to a certain point and then he takes it to another certain point and then explain a little bit about that?
That's it. It's challenge in the sense that when the project came together, I'm the creator of the project, and when it started getting momentum in terms of the writing and seeing a light at the end of the tunnel of how this was going to go and all that, I took this Bible worth of information and I just kind of dropped it on Casey, which that's metaphorical because he lives in Alabama and I live in Austin. But just dropped this thing on him. I'm like, this is what I got. He's like, he was just going to edit it first. And then he started putting, and giving me ideas here and there, like the name Kung Fu Thulu. That's Casey. He dropped the name. The next day I had sketches. We were ready to rock. So there he was inputting ideas, and it was like I was used to writing Dick and Fart comics, one issue, one shot books, Latex Avenger, Masters of the Obvious, those types of characters and stories that I'd worked on in the past. I wanted something large in scope, cinematic, that would grab your attention, not just be a quaint, funny sitcom in a comic book. And that's why I wanted Casey. We had worked together on some stuff at the Comic Jam, which is a online workshop for comic book creators. And he's one of the people who runs the jam. And we had gotten to do something together. It was a Steve Ditko tribute piece where he wrote the script and I did the artwork on it. And we just jived so well. He was the only person I could have gone to with this. Frankly, he's the only person I would have trusted with this. And I think that's how you co-write with somebody, honestly, is trust. Trust that they want the best thing for the project as much as you do. Because a lot of collaborators, I talk to people who, they hired an artist to do their book or whatever, and they're not as excited about the project as you are. And so that can kind of take the wind out of the sails sometimes, that kind of thing, especially when it comes to like, not just the creative side, but the marketing and promotion side of the book, And so Casey, he's just as jazzed about this thing as I am. And that just kind of fuels me as well. So that's like, there's just got to be a lot of mutual respect to do this, because if you don't respect each other, it's not going to work.
Was it Casey's work ethic and what he produces? Was that how your trust in him built up kind of fast, it seems?
No, he's just another pretty face. No, I'm kidding. No, his work ethic is great. He does another book called Voodoo Child as well with a guy named what is it? Pete? I can't remember Pete's last name off the top of my head. Sorry, Pete. But he does Pete. I can't remember Pete's last name, but he does Voodoo Child with Pete. And then he also works the Comic Jam. He just had an anthology piece that was accepted in beautiful artwork by the artist on that. And so Casey, yeah, he's a go-getter, and he takes the Bigfoot project really seriously, which I really appreciate. He's helming the next book that we're doing, which is a side story, not spin-off book, but like a side story of Bigfoot that takes place in the past. And so he's really kind of, I mean, we're working the plot together, but he is running with the ball. And then once he's done with that, he'll hand it back to me, and I'll go back in and do script changes and dialogue changes and stuff like that. And that's kind of the fashion that we've been working in on the second book. On book one, I had a lot of it kind of figured out, but then he worked the pacing on the fight scenes and introduced a couple of other things. So each issue he's getting a little bit more freedom to play, and but he still has to deal with me, which is not easy anyway. So because I'm a bit of a nut and a control freak, but but I respect him, and I respect what he's we find a way to make it work. It's respect, just mutual respect.
Sounds like co-parenting to me.
Yeah, no shit. You get the comic book on weekends, every other weekend or something like that. So
you get issue 3, I get issue 4. We can share 5, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take it back a little bit. How did your comic journey start?
Oh, okay. So the long version is I started reading comics when I was 8. Marvel, DC, that sort of thing. In 1992, when Image popped, was when I decided that I wanted to be a part of this world. And because they had creator-owned comics, you get to create your own stuff. Hell, yeah, I want a part of that. Because I had characters all over the place, and so that was huge to me. There was a studio out in my hometown outside of Houston that they had their own indie comics. This was 1993. They were doing their own thing. Amazing. And so I would go hang out over there. They teach me things, lay out and have, erase all the ink, the pencils off the ink page, or fill in the blacks, or this is how you use Dr. Martin's inks to color, or whatever, And so I just a little stoolie that hung around the studio, just learning and soaking it up. They had actually offered me my own book, and this was my freshman year of college. And unfortunately, the studio went out of business, and so I never got to do that. And things happen, shit changes, and I didn't have the inclination to work on a comic book again until I was 30. And that's when I started doing Latex Avenger. Maybe there's one right here. Yeah, here you go. I started doing Latex Avenger with, and this was, like I said, he's got the old rubber on his head right there, and he's got a sidekick spermicidal foam lad, and there's, he's, Manibus right over here, the Kaiju Pop Monster, and that's his buddy, the Two Puff Marshmallow Man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so
that universe sounds rad.
It was cool. We did, most of the books were in color. This one was in black and white, but because we didn't have any money. But but I gave away a 4-pack of crayons when you bought it, so you could finish it yourself if you wanted to. The other thing that I used to give away, let me show you something. My swag bag of stuff that I've made over the years. I used to give away these. They were rubbers, and they had my website on them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, those were great. Those were fantastic. So that was my first book. I mean, I had worked on a greeting card project that took me to, different shows around the country, including New York and all that stuff. And after that project finished up, I wanted to do anything else but that. And so what could be go from sweet and wholesome to some prick in a condom running around fighting crime. That was like, so that was the first book I really did. And I did about 7 or 8 issues of Latex Avenger. I drew about half of them, and then another cat named Bonadami came on board and drew the other half. And then Bon and I ended up creating a book called Masters of the Obvious. I have Arger on here. Oh, it's up there. You can't see it. Masters of the Obvious, which was a sci-fi space parody. You had characters like Dr. Biclops, he's got 2 eyes, and the Visible Woman, you can't miss her. And like LeBron, the snapping turtle, don't make him snap. You wouldn't like him when he snaps. And they flew around in a battle toaster called the USS Screensaver, having pop culture adventures throughout the galaxy. They fought like the My Little Jabronis, and they dealt with Puggalos and Darth Redenbacher, all just sorts of weird shit. And yeah, so did that project. That rolled into another thing for that was with Pound Comics. That rolled into another project called Excelsior, The Uphill Adventures of a Boy Named Stanley, which was for the Stan Lee Foundation and POW Entertainment. So I wrote it, Bond drew it. We did that a 12 comic series for them, like just web comic series for them. And it was cool. I mean, Stan Lee tweeted our comic every week. How can you go wrong with that?
How can you beat that?
No, that's pretty cool. I mean, more money, but it's cool. But so that was an interesting experience. I enjoyed it. I took the gig because it was heavily edited, and I never really had an editor, bust my chops before. So I wanted to know what that experience was like. Had that experience. Here we are. I after that whole thing, Bond was burned out. I was burned out. There was a lot going on, and we ended up. I ended up walking away from comics for a few years. Unfortunately, during that few years, like Bond actually passed away, which was just devastating. I mean, just devastating. And it was about a year after that I picked up a pencil again and started drawing. Well, I used my computer, but still, I started drawing again because I had kind of switched to being a writer. Actually, I had very much switched to being a writer. My artwork wasn't that good on Latex Avenger, and I just, and everybody would just like, oh, I love it when other people draw your characters. I mean, that's kind of a hint. Stop drawing them. And so I started drawing digitally and finding my feet with that. Jumped on Instagram and started, found the Comic Jam and started doing some work again for some other titles, Halloween Man, Guano Guys, stuff like that, interiors, covers, whatever. And then, which kind of leads us to now, doing Bigfoot Knows Karate. And then we just finished the Halloween Man Meets Latex Avenger crossover that's actually at the printers right now. So back in it. I'm back in it. Every time it's like Godfather 3, man, every time I try to get out, they pull me back in, so.
Earlobe deep.
Yeah, no shit.
So not to get too into it, because I mean, obviously, we keep personal things personal. What's your day job?
I am a creative director for a marketing and advertising group.
Hey, this makes sense.
Yeah, it's all it all fits together in its way. It really does. I think that was why I started drawing digitally, because or making comics again, because I just kind of took all the knowledge that I had taken from years of design work and applied them to what I was doing as an illustrator. And once I changed my mindset, didn't think of it as comics are this, design is that, and then once I just said, okay, this all can commingle with each other, that was the game changer for me. That was where the light bulb went on and everything clicked, and whatever other metaphor you want to use to describe it, or was it a simile, who knows. That's when it started feeling good for me as an artist and making more sense on how to draw this book and really how to tackle other projects that I've taken on in comic books.
Do any of your coworkers at your day job know about your comic book foray?
All of them. All of them. They all know. They all backed the book last time. They're one of them actually, she does comic book like restoration for CGC in her spare time, and like her and her husband have like a retail site where they do like they'll people buy their books through them rather than going to a comic store, or they have all the chase covers people are looking for and that sort of thing. So yeah, they're really cool, and my whole team's really amazing about it. They I have a podcast I have to do on Wednesday, and I need to do it at noon. And they're like, yeah, I just told them, I said, I'm going to be in and doing my thing for, about an hour and a half. And they're like, yeah, cool. They just, it's such a cool group of people that I work with that, and I don't work in the office. I work out of my home. So it is, everybody else is in Dallas. So I work from my house. So, and I've been there for like 9 years, so we all know our jobs. We all handle our jobs and we all do what we have to do. And so the work will always get done. So they don't care if I take an hour off on a Wednesday afternoon on launch day. They get it,
Yeah.
and they're real supportive of the whole thing for sure.
Well, that's awesome. That can be hard to find, especially these
Yeah.
days.
Oh, I've got a really nice job. I have a very cush gig. They take really good care of me. So
Brad,
yeah,
that's
can't
right.
argue.
I got a nice job too. I'm my own boss. No,
There you go, man. There you go.
He
I
doesn't
was
take
for
care of me
years.
too well.
I was for years. I freelanced for about 5 years, and I loved it. But it's you've got a family and all of that stuff. It's nice to have the steady check rather than, hey, we got a
Yes.
lot of money this month. We're not going to have anything next month, but the month after that's going to be a lot of money again. It's like those are tough. That's a tough racket. So
Most definitely.
yeah,
Switching gears again.
sure.
Talk about the inspiration for the title, Born Under a Bad
I
Sign.
knew you were going to ask me that.
You knew it was coming.
I know it was coming. Oh, I'm happy to talk about this. I'm a blues fan, man. Somebody tells me you are too, right?
Yes.
And yes, I'm a blues fan. I have been since I was 14 years old. And I attribute it to a couple of things. One, I was a white kid in the suburbs who watched the Blues Brothers way too much. That started it off. I know, because getting to watch John Lee Hooker in that scene outside the soul food restaurant just playing. That was like one of the things that grabbed me really hard. And then there was another cat who had a blues show on KTSU, Texas Southern University Radio in Houston. His name was Dr. Freddie Brown with the Blue Plate Special. And it was Monday nights, 10 o'clock at night. And I happened on it one evening. And it was the first song that he played was Couldn't Stand the Weather by Stevie Ray Vaughan. Then it was Albert King's I'll Play the Blues for You, followed by Ray Charles, Let the Good Times Roll. And those were like the first 3 songs I sat down and listened to that night. And I became hooked, like absolutely disgustingly hooked on the blues after that. And well, here's my harmonica, so that's not on my desk with me in case I just want to fiddle with it while I'm working or something like that. I just love it. I love that music. I identify with it in a lot of ways. Some ways I don't, but just that. I don't know how to even describe it, but I mean the music is incredible. It sings to me personally.
Southern American men are wired for 2244 shit, and that's what blues is.
Well, there you go. 2244 is that? Yeah, is that the?
It's like the cadence of like,
okay.
You know what I mean? Just like a basic blues cadence. And it's Billy Gibbons said it, I think, in an interview. It's like most American dudes are wired for it.
Well, it works.
You just have to connect. You just have to connect the dots.
Yeah. No, I mean, like when I was in like high school, college, whatever, it doesn't matter. I've always liked rock and roll. I've always liked the blues. I like funk. I love jazz. I will punk rock. I mean, I love music. And I have a Bigfoot and Launchtober karate soundtrack I listen to when I'm drawing, and that will be anywhere from oh my God, I'm trying to think of some of the blues artists I have on there. Black Betty by I can't remember who was singing it. Not Ram Jam. No,
okay,
it's not Sun House. I'm trying to remember who the singer was on it. I'll have to look and see. But it's everything from that to, let me just pull up my Bigfoot and Launchtober karate soundtrack. Here you go. So you get it's Grinning in Your Face by Sun House. Okay, and then Black Betty was somebody else. I can't remember who did that. And then I've also got John the Revelator by Sun House on here, and that's just him a cappella on that. Yeah. God's Gonna Cut You Down by Johnny Cash. The Regulator by Clutch, Going Out West by Tom Waits, Twist of Cane by Danzig. So there's some weird stuff, weird mix of music. Unfuck the World by the Prophets of Rage. You can mute that word out if you need to.
No, it's fine.
But Voodoo Child, the long version by Hendrix, Carolina Drama by the Raconteurs. I just, just stuff that kind of fits the vibe. I love the Stooges, that shows up in my music, in my stuff as well. So the titles of, back to your original question, the titles of the comic, I love the blues and I love the stories they tell. And that is one thing about the blues is, I don't, they tell stories, and that's what we're doing here. And so it's just a small little shout out, a small little thing that, I did not want a book full of Easter eggs. I did not want a book full of pop culture references that 5 years from now, what's a Gangnam Style? Like, I don't want that question to ever be asked. When you read this book 30 years from now, you can pick it up, you can read it, and it's going to make sense. That was like a big deal to me. But putting those little titles in there, subtitles to the second issue is Born Under a Bad Sign. That is the, that kind of falls in line with where our guy is right now, and things are not working out well for him. He's not had a charmed life, and it's not going to be easy for this issue. The next issue, it'll have another blues title, and then the fourth and the fifth, and I'll tell you about them offline. I think we have talked about this a little bit offline.
You've told me one, and I think I might have spilled the beans on one, and I apologize.
Oh shit, I don't worry about it.
I apologize. I spilled the bean on one on the Launchtober Fest big debut episode on the I Don't Know Shit About Comics podcast.
I appreciate the shout out. So thank you. It was cool.
So if you guys want an Easter egg, go check out that show, and you guys can hear me let the cat out of the bag.
That's cool. It's all good. I love, I like I said, I didn't want to do all the Easter eggs and that sort of thing, but there is two running threads of little Easter eggs in the book. One of them are the subtitles. The other one I'm not going to tell you about because it's my own little personal joke that only I understand. And, and one day somebody's going to pick up on it, and they're going to, hopefully I'm going to be at a convention 10 years from now. Some guy goes, Mr. Price, I got a question for you. I noticed this thread going on in your thing. You're like, and everybody's going to be like, oh God, what a guy. And I'm going to go, yes, you nailed it. They're like, oh, that's what I'm hoping will happen one day. I doubt it, but I'm hoping that'll happen one day. So he doesn't have to call me Mr. Price. Dan will be fine. So anyway.
Well, some sort of Easter eggs are cool, but I totally understand what you mean. Like lame pop culture references that only mean something for like 2 years.
Exactly.
You don't
exactly. And I've done that. I've done that already. And, Masters of the Obvious, especially, was just pop culture, movie quotes, In fact, there was a arc that I was going to do for Masters at one point that was called Quoters Anonymous, where they all have to go to a 12-step program to start quoting movies. And because it was so rampant in the comic,
That's awesome. Man, like, does your brain just fire off these ideas all day long?
All day long.
Because you've just spouted off like 6 or 7, and I'm just like, God, this would take me forever to think of.
No, I have a creativity problem. Like I'm thinking all the time. I mean, I've got a note here. And it just says F-bomb on it. Okay. It just says that. That's all it says is F-bomb. And all it is me trying to come up with this character that for a Latex Avenger character that would just be, I don't know what it's going to be yet, but it's F-bomb. I look at it frequently. I'm like, I'll get to it eventually, but I don't, I'll get there eventually. But right now I'm a little preoccupied with this little Bigfoot book we got going on. So
would you consider your style of work controlled chaos?
Yes.
That's not a dig at you, I promise.
No,
that is not
no. That's kind of the goal, honestly. I want it to look haphazard. I want it to feel loose. I want it to feel kinetic. I want it to feel like there's movement within the panel. Brushy, grungy, organic. These are buzzwords that I would use to describe what I'm attempting to do with my artwork. Whether I'm getting there or not, I don't know. But that's what I'm going for at the very least.
It, in book one, it almost felt like an analog to digital switch, because like he's hanging out with the rabbit, he's in nature, you know, he's kind of just like whatever, and then all of a sudden it's like everything's closing in on him, and then it just gets really like hard edged, and you know, and not abrasive, but just like it's not as peaceful and somber anymore. You
No,
know what I
it
mean?
was it was haphazard, and it was a lot of action going on in there. You know, the big thing is that the colors change based on mood, emotion, and and also environment too. But the color changes throughout that book. It starts off very pastel-y, and then once the battle starts going, or anytime that there's any sort of action, the colors get much bolder. And then by the fourth act, by the fourth act, the colors drain out. And when there's a particular character enters the thing, like the colors just zap out of it, and it becomes very gray, and with very very a lot, so I really tried to match the color to match the tone of what was happening in the story.
Odd question. Will we ever meet Bigfoot's trainer?
I don't know. That's a real good question. Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. Yes. I have no idea.
If that ever happens, that would be interesting
Sure.
to see. Is it all work and comics and no play, or what do you actually do to relax?
This. I mean, this is how what I do to unwind, to draw. I mean, not the business side, and not the marketing and all of that stuff. That's the work portion. It's worthwhile doing. But to did I say something that made you get rid of the next question or
No,
something?
no. I mark them down as I go because I don't want to ask them twice.
All right, cool. Sorry, I'm like paying attention to to your hands. It's like a magician. I thought maybe you might like pull a rabbit out of your hat or something.
Sorry.
No,
I'll
you're
sit
good.
on
No,
'em.
you're
No.
no, you're good. You're
I'm
good.
kidding. I'm kidding.
So I got no, this to draw, that's the most relaxing thing, other than like being on a cruise ship with a fruity drink, like that's more relaxing. But with the wife next to me and that sort of thing. Can't do that every day. So let's we'll just draw in the evening or early in the morning, and that gets some creativity going, and it gets I'm one of those people who has to be doing something. I'm not really good to sit down and watch TV. That'll last for about an hour, and then I'm like, all right, let's go do something. And so, yeah, having a little project to do that keeps me fed, so to speak.
Besides drawing, do you have like a guilty pleasure? Like for myself, I'm on a bowling league on Thursday nights.
Right
So
on.
like, is there something that you do that might be like that, or just something that kind of takes you out of the normal?
No, honestly, no.
That,
It's
yeah.
my happy, I mean, I like to sit on my patio or my deck outside and just enjoy the evening. The weather's nice, take advantage of it. Other than that, I mean, I might go hiking with my dog. I mean, she's good for that for sure. And no, there's nothing really. I don't have a bowling league or anything fun like that. I considered a softball league in the spring, but that didn't happen. So
Yeah, you want
maybe
to
next
protect
year.
those hands.
Yeah, right. That's a good point, dude. That's a good point. I need to learn how to bowl left-handed or something. Keep my finger, keep
Well,
my pointer finger in place.
like you, I've been doing it a long time in my life, so
Yeah.
it's just something that's never stopped.
So
But
what's your average? Have you ever done a 300?
no, I've actually gotten close a few times in league. Highest game is a 290. That's a spare in the
Wow,
first frame, and then you strike the rest of the way out. So I have the
that's amazing.
feeling. I have the feeling of knowing what it's like to blow out the 10th and do it. But
That's cool.
you gotta have that front one to make it real.
Well, I'm rooting you on, dude.
Dude, when my father has rings and all my friends have rings, and I'm the Dan Marino of all my bowling friends, and I don't have rings, but I have the highest average on the team, so they can suck it.
You're not just the Dan Marino, you're also the Nolan Ryan, dude. Oh no, although he did win one with the Mets one year. Never mind, I take that back. Yeah, Dan Marino will be fun. So yeah.
What is currently inspiring you these days?
From a artistic
Just
perspective, or just in general?
just to wake up and put on your pants kind of thing.
Did you ever watch Ted Lasso?
It's been a minute.
Okay, so Ted Lasso is, that show on Apple TV, whatever, with the soccer team, the American coach goes to do soccer. That's, you know what? I watched it about 3 weeks ago, and I can't get that show out of my head because it's just so unbelievably positive. And I like positive things just because I'm by nature kind of a negative person, and it's not my favorite part of me at all. And so I like positive things. Like my wife is very positive. I mean, like I like things that I mean, like I don't like angry music. Like I just can't get into like I mean, not that there's anything wrong with it, but I can't get into like have really tough metal and that sort of thing. It's just some punk rock just gets a little too for me. I like anger when you got that angry when it's got a good purpose, but I don't need angry all the time. I like things that are going to lift you up a little bit and make you not just feel good, but feel something, and inspire, because you can take inspiration from everywhere. I been tinkering around with a character name based on a blues song, actually, that I would love to interject into a comic at some point, and that's just purely based on story that was told in the song, and I just think it would make a great character. So you just draw inspiration in music, man. I always find inspiration in music some way, somehow.
The positivity thing is kind of it's not it's a big trend, but it's often not mentioned. You can kind of
Well,
tell that people are into the positivity, but not very many people really they don't really say it or talk about it.
okay, I don't share memes of positivity. I don't read self-help books. I don't do any of that shit. I don't do affirmations. That's not I meditate about twice a week probably. And that really turns into me falling asleep. But my stepdad always says, well, if you're falling asleep, you're getting relaxed. So I'm like, well, I'm doing it right, kind of. But I can't listen to Brene Brown, or anything like that. That's just never going to happen for me. I want to. There's things in my life I want to fix, but I don't need I don't need Dr. Spock to tell me how to do it. You know.
All these years later, do you still kind of consider yourself a sponge from back in the days, like when you were at the
Oh, yeah, the small studio and that sort of
yeah,
thing.
even
Yeah,
just in life too. Like, I mean, it seems like you just soak it up from every
I'm
which
watching
way.
everything. Yeah, I'm watching everyone around me. Whether it's like, like especially like in comics, I'm watching people like Mark, who's just damn amazing at what he does. I'm watching him and the moves he's making. I watch everybody, their live launches. I watch, Mark makes fun of me because I watch like so many lives, and I do, I do. Somebody's got a live on, I'll put it on for a while and just soak up what they're saying, listen to what their strategies are, that sort of thing. Yeah, I like to look at the artwork too and that sort of thing when they're drawing, but I'm listening, more than anything. And like I said, we did the live launch last year. I didn't invent the live launch. Somebody else invented the live launch. I just took it and changed it to what I needed it to be, and so it's stuff like that. I am paying attention a lot. What I miss owning like a cable TV, because when I was watching cable TV, I was seeing so many other commercials for other things and commercials. I don't see commercials much anymore. And that's funny considering I work in advertising, right? But I don't watch commercials at home. And it's so funny because commercials for me are so they're so influential because they come out faster than a regular TV show does, and they're so always playing with neat ideas and weird things, like I mean, whether it's Google commercial or whatever, they always come up with Apple commercial. They always come up with amazing ideas most of the time, and then sometimes you get the singing rats, Quiznos, they're just terrible. Um, but I miss stuff like that because having regular cable. it opened your eyes to so much more than what, when you're in your echo chamber of television or your news and social media and that sort of thing, because they just feed you what they want you, what they think you're going to like at this point. So,
Well, it's all cut off too. Everybody's in a streaming service or
oh,
buy this,
absolutely.
subscribe to this, pay us money
Hmm.
to get this GTV channel to watch this and that and the other. It can get kind of frustrating after a while.
Bit cumbersome. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we're getting close to semi TV politics, so let's
Yeah. Moving right along.
let's move right along off of that.
Yeah.
Can the Bigfoot character sing the blues?
No. No, he knows the blues. He just can't sing them,
Yeah. He knows
I
it
don't
for
think.
sure.
Oh yeah, he knows. He's like, they say a Rolling Stone gathers no moss, right? And but I think that, he's seen a lot of stuff and he's been through a lot of shit. And I think he's gathered some moss over the years, and I think he's got a lot to work out for sure.
How does he work this out with his fist, or does he meditate this out?
Yeah, a bit of both.
Bit of both.
A bit of
Yes,
both.
sir.
I think that he, and we showed that in the first issue where he actually does go into meditation and actually leaves the plane of existence where he's actually on, and into from the real to the unreal, and he encounters a whole different state of being within a whole nother environment that looks so hellish. And he's got some demons, man.
And it's it makes for good story, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Guys, this interview and all the other interviews you guys will hear on this podcast and in conjunction with Apollo City Comics podcast and the I Don't Know Shit About Comics podcast is brought to you by Lesser Known Comics and in conjunction with Launchtober Fest 2022, where we highlight indie comic creators that have books launching on Kickstarter throughout the month of October 12th at 8 p.m. Central Time.
Eastern
Time, excuse me.
Yep.
October 12th, 8 p.m. Eastern. Bigfoot Knows Karate #2 is launching, Born Under a Bad Sign. I want to be Born Under a Bad Sign because I think there is quite a few people that is hyped up about this book. Are you kind of feeling that as well from the community?
I think so. I think we've everybody's been really kind. Look, everybody's been real kind about this. The first issue, we received like 60 pieces of fan art before we even launched. I think it's about 100 pieces of fan art plus at this point that we received. That's amazing. We've gotten, just people rooting us on. We have 125 notifications on Kickstarter right now with people who are, hit the button. So that's a pretty good number. I'm feeling good about that. I don't really know what a good number is in that regard, because you see some of these people, fund $40,000 and then you see some people, fund less. So, but I feel good. 125, that was us walking in. Last year on the first campaign, we had 77. So this is more. So yeah. Hopefully this will translate into more people being able to pick up the book. Look, in the end of the day, it's not really about the money. Anything we make goes right. I get cover artists paid, I get, Casey taken care of and all that stuff. More books printed, get some tables for some other shows, but it's not, everything we do just goes right back into the project in some shape or form. So all I'm really looking forward to is eyeballs, eyeballs. I want people to read it. I want people to enjoy it. And then, we get to go do some other shows and get to meet some other people and get some other readers and perpetuate the cycle, so to speak.
Talking about blues again.
Sure.
Where does your blues style land? Acoustic, electric, or somewhere in between?
Yeah, somewhere in between. Like there was a Junior Wells, it was a Junior Wells Buddy Guy album years ago called Alone in Acoustic that is absolute gold, and listen to like Robert Johnson and stuff like that, or Sunhouse just, rocking on acoustics is incredible. But like when you get to hear, here I'm King rock out the Killing Floor, on electric, or I remember seeing my very first blues concert I ever went to was and this is in the order in which they appeared. Okay. It opened with the Fabulous Thunderbirds, then it was Dr. John, then it was Buddy Guy, Robert Cray, and BB King.
Oh
I
my
was
word.
16. I was 16 years old. JBC Blues Fest, Benson and Hedges Blues Fest, one of the two. And it was incredible, and you got to see everything and everyone. But then, I remember going to see Buddy Guy at the Ariel Theater in Houston one time, and Shamika Copeland was opening for him. Okay. You know who Shamika Copeland is?
Yeah. Yes.
Phenomenal. Her mic went out in the middle of the concert. Her mic went out. You know what she did? This is a pro. She took that mic, pushed it off to the side, and just sang. And you could hear her up in the nosebleeds, and it was
Jeez.
so, yeah, dude, she owns it. She's like a DJ on XM now, and I'd love to see her live again because she's incredible. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like songs that are acoustic. I like songs that are electric. I like songs that were written for the electric, but they played it on acoustic because they're rebels. Just do what you got to do. Just give me some good music. I'll take it.
I love it. Now, do you check out any blues like locally where you're at, or is it still kind of COVID-y shut down?
Oh, no. City's up and running again, but it's not really a good blues scene here in Austin. There was,
Wow.
At one point there was, but it's not there anymore. I mean, it's just a lot of people in cover bands and that sort of thing. And not that there's wrong with cover bands. I don't have a problem with that, but they're not telling their story. They're telling somebody else's story. There's this cat here in Austin, and I can't remember his name, and he's been playing for years. I wish I had his name off the top of my head, but he's an old school blues man, and he's been in Austin for a long time. And he plays over at a beer garden that we go to, and he's probably in his 80s at this point, and he's still jamming. That's the closest I get to seeing anything really good. When I lived in Houston, there was the Ready Room on Washington. There was Edda's over by the U of H. Those were amazing blues clubs. And they're gone now. I mean, they're gone. And that's such a shame because they were institutions. So there's a place here in town called the Elephant Room that does some jazz. It's pretty decent, but finding good blues, I think you'd have to go to Mississippi or Chicago at this point to find something. You know what I mean? Now you're in a band, so you're producing it, you're making it.
Yeah, we've been trying for a while, but I mean, you know how day jobs and daughters and lives and wives things can go. So
absolutely. But I love that you play, man. I mean, like seriously, if I can do anything, I'd be a musician. Excuse me, I just have no. This might sound silly as an artist. I have no hand-eye coordination. Like I can't play video games. I couldn't look at a music book and try and work my fingers at the same time. There's just no way.
It's the opposite too, because like musicians, like I would love to be able to draw. I couldn't draw you a smiley face if I wanted to.
Sure.
Oh,
but to get up on the guitar in front of on stage and shred
and just wail.
That would be. I mean, that's got to be like, that's got to be close to kissing God, man. I mean, seriously, that's got to be such a great feeling.
I always tell people it's when you can feel the speakers move some air. Mm-hmm. That's whenever it's like you really know that you're doing it right because your speakers are working, you're howling, you've got tone. I mean, you got that thing just standing up and barking around the room. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you feel that amplifier just pushing air on the back of your pant legs. That's when you know, like, yes, you've hit the sweet spot.
That's awesome. I mean, I used to play, so I play my harmonica, not really anymore, but back in college, I used to jam with a bunch of guys in the dorms. We'd go set up outside and, they'd plug in their guitars and amps and all that stuff like that. And we had to do on drums and the whole thing. And they'd give me a mic every once in a while, and I'd just play harmonica along with them. Did that. I got to play one time at this club called Instant Karma. I played with this chick named Noria Serafini, who was just so talented. Got to do that. I got to record on an album with a guy named Jonathan Falk, who I got to record one song with him. That was fun, but I would by no means ever call myself a musician. It's just somebody who kind of fell into a moment, and then that's what life is, a series of moments. So, just enjoy them as much as you get them. So I've been
it's like
cussing this whole time, man.
it's all right.
Sorry.
It's all right. I do it too. Like I had a friend. I've never really been like formally taught, but I had a friend who kind of told me he took the veil over off my eyes and he said, "Guitar is just a bunch of repeating patterns and shapes," and that's basically like life these days. It's just repeating patterns and shapes.
That's awesome.
We talked a little bit about Casey Allen in beginning of the show, but
Sure.
his work with you, I mean, you guys really do make a great tag team. It's awesome. Will there be another sweet variant cover done by him?
Oh, Casey? Oh, you're talking about Adam.
Adam. Oh, is that the man?
Yeah.
I might have got some people mixed up then.
No worries. Casey's my co-writer.
Gotcha.
All right. And so he's amazing. Not an artist, though. You're talking about Adam Caswell, who did this cover right here.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Can I share my screen?
Yes, you can.
All right. Can you give me screen share permission?
Oh no, I mean I can. I just don't know how to do it.
Oh, there's an arrow to the right of your screen share button at the bottom of your Zoom. If you click on that and it says allow multiple participants to share. Sorry about this. Probably taking you out of the zone.
I'm not sure exactly what I'm supposed to click on at the moment.
Yeah, no, there's a green screen share button, and then there's a little arrow to the right of the screen share button. And then you just click on that, and then there's a fly out menu that says only one person or multiple people can share. If you click on the arrow and hit the multiple button, I'll be able to share my screen with you. But if not, it's no big deal. I mean, don't worry about it. But I could show you some of the artwork that Adam has done for the issue. So, or for his cover. It's quite incredible.
I believe I've got it clicked on multiple.
You got it.
Now.
Here you go, cool. Man. So he's doing a wraparound cover this issue. So this is the front, or this is the back of the cover. That's the front of the cover.
Guys, if you guys are watching this, will this still be available on Kickstarter as far as, because I mean, yes, this is being shown on Halloween, so.
Yeah, this will be on Kickstarter. This is the variant cover to the deluxe edition of the book. You see all that detail? Look at all that detail. I mean, isn't that incredible? All that detail in the hair. And then.
In the jacket.
Oh yeah, the gi is amazing. And I mean, look at all that detail in the sword. Guy's incredible. And then, like, look at this. Look at that axe.
And the strike.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Just that little piece right there looks rad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Adam knocked it out of the park, man. He really did. Let me see. Hold on.
And excuse me, Adam, for not knowing your name and having that wrong.
Adam's incredible. Like so there's that. And then let me see. I've also got the other covers for the issue. This one was the deluxe edition, one of the other deluxe edition covers by Jevin Loop, with a couple of characters that are featured in the book, Chupacabra with a shotgun and Thermonucleodon right here. And let me see. Oh, I'm in the wrong folder. Hold on.
And Thermonucleodon is what he sounds like.
Is exactly what he sounds like. Yeah, he is exactly what he sounds like. Let me see. And then
thank you for sharing this stuff and giving us a little bit of bird's eye view on this.
Oh man, happy to. So yeah, there's Jevin's cover. Let me see. And then there's Adam's, and then there's my cover right there.
That's awesome.
And thank you. And then there's Luis's. This cover here is going to have a red foil on it. Okay. So this is limited to 35 units. And then this is Zip Alegria's Virgin variant for the regular edition.
They're all rad. I mean, all of them. I mean, I'm sure you probably feel the same way.
They're incredible, man. We've been really lucky to have some incredible cover artists. We really have. We did. This was one from the first. This was Skiller. And
man.
Oh, absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
Absolutely gorgeous work. And then you asked about Adam. that here too. And this is the original of that as well. And
So good.
So good. So good. You want to see something else that's kick ass?
Of course.
The dude who's doing the red foil cover, this was a piece that he did for me last year.
That is a kick ass. That's
amazing stuff. Now that I have nothing on my walls anymore, so that's okay. But yeah, just some incredible artwork. So I find it, we're really lucky to get some awesome people who have done some work. Dennis Valencia, I also want to talk about Dennis. He's doing he did a piece that's in the style of Frank Miller's Sin City for us. It's going to be one of the mini prints. Eamon Cowan, we're including. Still around.
Oh man.
Yeah, probably different from anything else.
Yeah. Does that help a little bit with writing when you see some of these things that are a little like just a little different than what you normally see this scope as?
It makes you reframe how you see the characters sometimes, for sure. I'm like, oh, that wasn't even a possibility I would have thought of. Now that's something that we can kind of goal towards, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I love seeing other people interpret the characters we create. Some people I know get kind of irritated. Well, they didn't get this right. They didn't get that right. Screw it. No, it's awesome. Let them express themselves with the character. Now, mind you, if I'm going to a comic convention, there's some dude selling Bigfoot knows karate fan art, I'm going to be like, all right, dude, where's my cut? But
yeah, that's a little different.
Yeah. No, I think it's great when people do that stuff. Actually, I really don't care if they do fan art. Just give us the credit, that we created it. That's the big thing. I just want people to enjoy the book. I just want people to enjoy the character and have some fun with it. And so seeing other artists draw this stuff, the fact that they took their time out of their day when they could have been working on other things to draw the karate fighting Bigfoot guy, rock on, dude. That's amazing. Like I said, we've received like 100+ pieces of fan art at this point. When that first started happening, I swear to God, I had an anxiety attack one night because my wife we were in bed. I'm like, what if this book doesn't live up to the hype? What if they, they're all drawing it, and what if they hate it? And I was like, it took me a couple of days to kind of get over that. And once I did, I just felt good about it. These are people who are taking the time to draw this character, and it just means the world to me. It really does.
It's so rad to be able to have that thing that you can create to like hang your hat on, like this is my baby. And of course this doesn't mean that you're stopping creating anything else, but it's really cool to kind of have like, I don't know, that foundation you can stand on.
Yeah. Look, I've been lucky to work on some cool projects in comics. Most of it's creator owned. Stuff that I didn't do that was creator owned. Everybody treated me kind and was it let me, like with Drew Edwards' Halloween Man. He specifically asked me, what kind of story do you want to draw? I was like, sweet, you're actually giving me the option, not a comedy. Give me something horrific. Let me do something completely different. And I attribute that book to getting me going on what I was doing with Bigfoot. I've got a couple of panels of it on my website. I can show you real quick to show you what I mean, but it's like I've enjoyed thoroughly enjoyed doing different stuff with my artwork, and making the project look, like this is my portfolio website. So this was the artwork, some of the artwork that I was doing for Halloween Man, and it was, I can't zoom in on it, but it was such a good time working on something like this, where it was so different from the other things I'd worked on. It wasn't clean. It was, oh, there you go. That's see a little bit better, but
yeah,
you can see some of the style of Bigfoot Knows Karate in there.
Yes.
It's, and this was kind of where that kicked off for me. So as opposed to, like Masters of the Obvious, when I was working on that, it was more like this, this type of style, which is far more cartoony.
But still looks really good. One in the same. It's kind of shows, I guess, the breadth of your work, the depth of your work. Like you can do cartoony, you can do serious, you can make it, positive, or you can make it kind of abrasive and like make people stop and go, whoa.
Yeah. I mean, your artwork needs to change with the project is my opinion, frankly. That the most important thing is the story. Now it's not about me, it's about the story, and so trying to make the artwork kind of fit that, fit the need, that's important for sure. So like with like Latex Avenger stuff, this is, you know, completely cartoony in comparison to, you know, some of the other stuff that I've done for sure. So, you know, just try and keep it interesting.
Of course.
Yeah.
Can
So,
you elaborate a little bit on the cover contest that you guys won?
oh, yeah.
I don't have
We
the exact name of it, and I
Sure.
apologize, but I know you guys won a contest, and
Yeah, we won Comic Wellspring's Master of the Comic Book cover contest. It was the Adam cover that won it for us. They put out a thing. Hey, do you want to enter your cover? Sure. I was like, well, which one has the best chance of winning? And mine or Adam's. I'm going with Adam, and it was a no-brainer. And yeah, we won the contest. It was voted on. They you submitted your cover. Comics Wellspring did the selected 5 covers or whatever it was that they thought were worthy of being up there, and then readers got to vote on the cover, or on social media or on their website. I'm sorry. And so I think the voting went for a couple of weeks, and we ended up coming out on top. Couldn't believe it. That was pretty incredible. Pretty incredible.
was it definitely a surprise?
Yeah, it really was. We were stoked that we made it in the first place, and then just really went to the mattresses on this one, trying to get as much people excited and voting on it as possible. So we did some legwork for sure, but it definitely worked out. And then what the nice part is, I get to hang out with Adam in a couple of weeks in Baltimore Comic Con. So he and I are sharing a table up there. So that'll be a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
What do you consistently do to keep kicking so much ass? Do you do some yoga? You said you meditate. Like,
Hmm.
I had interviewed Greg Martin from the Kentucky Headhunters, and he
Okay.
held up a coffee cup that said, "I pooped today." I've also
Helps.
interviewed Rudy Sarzo from Quiet Riot, and he said that he just gets hopped up on CBD in the morning.
Hold
So,
on one. Hold on one second. My dog's having a nightmare. Give me 1 second.
oh, no, no
Let me just
problem.
wake her up because she's making some crazy noise. Whooping. She'll go. Bloop, bloop. So you might want to edit that out if you want
No,
to, or we
it's
can just
totally
leave it because
fine.
it's fun.
What kind of dog do
Um,
you have?
she's an Australian Shepherd Lab mix,
Awesome.
and yeah, she's a really good dog. She's a really good dog, but she's laying on the couch next to me over here, just go bloop, bloop, moving her little
I'm
paws
chasing a
around and
ball
stuff.
in the sleep.
Exactly, exactly. So
But no, to reiterate the question, what do you do on a daily basis that you keeps you consistently kicking ass?
I wake up early in the morning and I start drawing. Then, if I don't do that early, then I will sleep. I want to go to bed at night without getting anything accomplished. So that's like get up early, get it going, get that creativity moving early. Get the day job done. Have some extra time after that to get some things done before I start cooking dinner and everybody comes home from their work or school or wherever they are at. Um, but yeah, I mean, time management is such a big deal.
Is time management hard for you? Because it is
Nope.
for me.
No, not really. I mean, well, it depends on what it is. I mean, like, is time management easy to, like, hey, mow the lawn, get some comic book work done. This is comic book work is easier to manage my time to do than say working in the lawn. But and mind you, my kid's 18 and he's been mowing the lawn for a while now, so it's kind of off my plate for the moment. But he's going to go off to university and it's going to be right back on my plate. So I'm looking forward to it.
Not
Anyway,
really.
not so much.
But Dan, I thank you so much for giving me a little bit of your time this
Wow,
evening.
I had a great time.
I know that I've kind of jumped around a little bit, and I just kind of wanted to give all the listeners a little bit of a broad swath about what was, kind of going on in the folds of your brain between the
Yeah,
blues and Bigfoot and jobs and Everything else under the sun.
Going in the folds of my smooth brain. No. Thank you for having me on. Can I do a quick plug real quick?
Oh yeah. I've got one more question before
Oh, okay.
before we end it
I thought
all.
you were kicking me off
No,
already.
no,
So, yeah.
we're not kicking. I'm not kicking you off just yet. But no,
All right, cool.
well, let's do a couple plugs here. I'll do one and then I'll let you do it. But guys,
yeah, you go first.
This is brought to you by Lesser Known Comics. Head over to lesserknowncomics.com. Use promo code EpicNerd15 and save yourself some dollars. Don't buy any candy. Just buy comic books this month. And also, we are part of Launchtober Fest 2022 with the Apollo City Comics Podcast, the I Don't Know Shit About Comics Podcast, and whatever else podcast you can think of. You guys can check out all these interviews from awesome creators. Launchtober Fest 2022. We have Dan Price from Bigfoot Knows Karate. We've got Brandon Ingram from Dismay Comics. Heck, earlier this week, we had David Lujan from the Yuriko book.
That was amazing.
He's rad. Amazing. Later this month, we've got Mark coming back for talking about either them or us for his book that's coming out as well. But also, we're sitting here with Mr. Dan Price from Bigfoot Knows Karate. Brother, what's your plug now?
I just want to say we hit Kickstarter on October 12th, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're doing a live launch party on Instagram that night. So come on, follow me at Danomite139. That's DANOMYTE 139. And join us on the live launch. We're going to be having a good time on there. A lot of different creators are going to pop in. A lot of different podcasters are going to pop in. Josh, I invite you to please join us that night. Come in, talk about Epic Nerd Time a little bit. Talk about some Bigfoot Knows Karate with us. I'm launching the book with Crit. Christopher Michaels from the book Crit. He's launching at the exact same time. So we're going to do 2 Kickstarter launches at once.
Nice.
I don't know if that's ever been tried before. I'm sure somebody's done it. We're not trailblazers over here, but we're going to do that. We're going to have a lot of fun. Chris is a great guy. Casey's going to be on there, and we're going to have a bunch of different people coming in and out. And so we had a lot of fun with this last year when we did the live launch. We had like over 200 people watch that live that night. So, which was crazy to me. So hopefully we'll have a good turnout for this one. The Kickstarter is October 12th. We have some really good tiers. Can I share my screen again?
Yes, you can. Do what you gotta do.
Cool, man. Let me just go over to my Kickstarter file. And okay, hold on. Now, okay, so we've got, this is, so Kickstarter kickoff party, October 12th, 7 p.m. Central. Crit is the cover for Crit. Number 6 is right there. Bigfoot Knows Karate. Y'all know who I'm talking about there. We've got some other really great tiers. You can do a catch-up tier where you can get issue 1 and 2. And I'll, for the book, that's just my schedule. You can do the 8. You can get the issues 1 and 2 8-pack, where if you want every cover that we've ever knocked out in the regular or deluxe editions, not the foil cover, you can get all of those covers in one shot. The Adam Caswell cover, that's for the wraparound deluxe variant, which is just gorgeous. The Jevin Loot cover, we got the Luis's stuff. Working on a t-shirt thing right now. I may or may not put that on the campaign. I haven't decided yet. And then, and I'll throw in a pin for you. So if we're looking to do those as a stretch goal. So there's a whole bunch of good stuff that we have in there. If you're a retailer, we do have a retailer pack this go around. So if you're a creator or own a comic store or have a podcast or something that you want to promote, there will be 4 ads available, half-page ads available in the tiers. So, and you also get a comic book with that. So it's not like you're just getting an ad. You can actually get the ad and a book. We will mail that to you, and it'll be great. So come on, hang out, October 12th. And if you're listening to this when is this launch, by the way? When does this go live? This
is our Halloween special.
So it's not going to be until like the 31st?
Yeah, it'll be around the weekend of Halloween.
All right, so y'all are going to miss out on the early birds, but that's okay. Go check out the campaign. I will just be coming home from Baltimore that day. So happy Halloween, everyone. But go to my website, bigfootknowskarate.com. You can find all the social media links and the link to the Kickstarter on the website.
Yes, and you can see the different links for Kickstarter and stuff. You will have seen that in our Instagram, because I'll definitely share that as well. Last question for you, Dan.
Sure.
What is the last thing you've drawn today?
What did I draw today? Let me go look through my history real quick. Today, actually, I haven't drawn today. Today I was writing this morning. I was doing some script cleanup stuff. So wait, that's not true at all. Hold on a second. I did do some drawing earlier. I can show you the page I was working on if you want to see it.
Let's do it. Awesome.
All right. Yeah, here. Nobody's seen this yet. So yeah. So
thank you.
Yeah, man. So this is the page I was working on today. And so you got your chupacabra with a shotgun, you got your thermonucleodon, and they're about to go to town. So yeah, that was what I was finishing off today early this morning. So
dude, that looked real rad. So it looks like those two, not barring spoilers, obviously, looks like those two are gonna have one out.
Yeah, they're gonna have something, that's for sure. So
that's so rad. But man, Dan, thank you so much, guys. And as always, if you happen to learn anything on this show, it's definitely by accident. Y'all, big, small, one and all, brought to you by Meanbeard, Greenbeard, Analog Pedals, Franklin Straps, Lesser Known Comics. Hit us up at Epic Nerd Time Podcast and on the Guitar Pirates Podcast for our Halloween special part 2. I've been your host, Josh Jones. And with me today is the lovely Dan Price. Dan, thank you so much for being here.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That was my lovely face. Y'all have a great night, y'all.
Raucous crowd in here, Mr. Dan.
I like it.